What if I told you that one of the most legendary car brands in history started in a tiny workshop with just three men, a boy, and a 1,000-pound loan? That the man who built it wasn't a trained engineer, but a 21-year-old dreamer from a seaside town who couldn't even legally drive when he bought his first motorcycle? This is the incredible true story of how Jaguar was born. A tale of ambition, genius, and the relentless pursuit of beauty and speed. On the 4th of September, 1901, in the seaside town of Blackpool, England, a boy was born who would one day change the face of the automobile industry forever. His name was William Lyons. Blackpool was a town of pleasure and entertainment, its famous tower rising above the promenade, its piers stretching out into the Irish Sea, its golden mile of hotels and arcades drawing holidaymakers from across Britain. But young William Lyons had little interest in the amusements that surrounded him. His fascination lay elsewhere, in the roar of engines, the gleam of chrome, and the promise of speed. His father, also named William, was an Irish immigrant who ran a music shop in town, selling and repairing pianos. By some accounts, nearly every piano in Blackpool passed through the elder Lyons' hands at one time or another. His mother, Minnie Barcroft, was the daughter of a mill owner. Together, they provided their son with a modest but comfortable upbringing. From an early age, William showed an aptitude for mechanical things. While other boys at Arnold School concerned themselves with their studies, young William could be found repairing bicycles for his classmates. But his true passion was for motorcycles and their engines, machines he was too young to legally ride but could not resist studying. When Arnold Brakel, an older acquaintance, returned from the Great War in 1918, he sold his 1911 Triumph motorcycle to the 17-year-old William. Though he couldn't yet take the machine onto public roads, Lyons did what came naturally to him. He pulled it apart, studied every component, rebuilt it with improvements, and then sold it at a profit. It was, in its way, a preview of everything that would follow. His father, recognizing his son's mechanical inclinations, secured him an engineering apprenticeship at Crossley Motors in Manchester. There, amid the clamor of the factory floor and the precision of the technical school, William Lyons began to understand the automobile industry from the inside. But Crossley, for all its prestige, could not hold him for long. By 1919, he had returned to Blackpool to work as a junior salesman at Brown and Malalieu, a Sunbeam dealership. It was there in 1921 that fate intervened in the form of a neighbor. William Walmsley lived just across the street from the Lyons family. He was older than William, a veteran of the Great War who had returned home and begun a modest enterprise converting surplus military motorcycles for civilian use. More importantly, he was building sidecars. Beautiful sidecars. Sidecars with flowing lines and elegant curves that stood apart from anything else on the market. Lyons was captivated. He bought one for himself and immediately recognized its potential. Here was craftsmanship, here was style, here was something that could be sold. With the enthusiasm of youth and the persuasive powers that would serve him throughout his life, Lyons convinced the reluctant Walmsley to go into business together. On William Lyons' 21st birthday, September 4th, 1922, the Swallow Sidecar Company was officially born. Their fathers provided a guarantee for a bank loan of £1,000, and with a small team of just 3 men and a boy, they set up shop in a modest premises on Bloomfield Road in Blackpool. The early years were difficult. Britain's economy in the early 1920s was stagnant, and the young company struggled to find its footing. But Lyons proved to be more than just an enthusiast. He was a natural businessman. He handled the advertising, the sales negotiations, the administration. He stretched every pound until it screamed, and crucially, he understood something that would define his entire career. People would pay for beauty. The Swallow sidecars were not merely functional, they were stylish, with modern lines that caught the eye. When the company managed to secure a small stand at the 1923 motorcycle show in London after a last-minute cancellation, the elegant Swallow designs attracted the attention of dealers and enthusiasts alike. Orders began to flow in, but Lyons was already looking beyond sidecars. He had grander ambitions. By 1927, the Swallow Sidecar Company had outgrown several premises in Blackpool, and employed a growing workforce. Lyons, ever restless, saw an opportunity in the automobile market. Britain's best-selling small car at the time was the Austin 7, a simple, affordable machine that had put the nation on wheels. What if, Lyons wondered, you could make it beautiful? He commissioned Cyril Holland, a talented coach builder who had joined Swallow, to create something special. Working from Lyons' sketches, Holland produced a distinctive two-seater body with a detachable hardtop, flowing lines, and striking two-tone paintwork in the Art Deco style of the era. The result was announced in May 1927, the Austin 7 Swallow. It was a revelation. Here was a car that looked like it cost 3 times its price. The curvaceous body, the bold color schemes, the sense of style and sophistication, all for just 175 pounds. The Swallow transformed the humble Austin 7 into something that turned heads on every street. When Henleys, the major London motor trader, saw the car, they placed an astonishing order: 500 Austin 7 Swallows, delivered at 25 per week. There was just one problem. The Blackpool factory could only produce 14 cars per week, and the location, far from the industrial heartland, made deliveries of materials expensive and slow. William Walmsley thought the Henleys deal was, quote, quite mad. But Lyons saw it as the opportunity of a lifetime. In November 1928, he made the decision that would shape the company's future. The Swallow Sidecar and Coach Building Company relocated to Coventry, the beating heart of Britain's motor industry. They moved into a disused First World War munitions factory at Foleshill, a building that had once been used to fill artillery shells with explosives. It was vast, it was available, and it was exactly what Lyons needed. Production soared to 50 cars per week. The company expanded its range, producing bodies for Standard, Swift, and Fiat chassis. But Lyons wanted more. He didn't want to merely dress up other manufacturers' cars, he wanted to build his own. In July 1931, advertisements began appearing in motor journals across Britain. "Wait," they proclaimed. "The SS is coming. 2 new coupes of surpassing beauty. SS is the new name of a new car that's going to thrill the hearts of the motoring public and the trade alike. It's something utterly new, different, better." The anticipation was deliberate. Lyons, the shrewd publicist, understood the power of mystery. When the SS1 and SS2 were unveiled at the 1931 London Motor Show, they caused a sensation. The body was ultra-low, the bonnet outrageously long. They looked like cars that should cost a fortune, yet they were priced to compete with far more ordinary machines. The chassis and engines came from the Standard Motor Company, but the style, that unmistakable sense of drama and elegance, was pure William Lyons. By 1933, the company had been renamed SS Cars Limited, and William Walmsley, temperamentally unsuited to the relentless pace of expansion, sold his shares and departed. Lyons was now in sole command. He gathered around him a team of brilliant engineers. William Haynes joined as chief engineer, bringing technical expertise to match Lyons' design vision. Harry Westlake, a genius of gas flow and engine tuning, began working his magic on the standard engines that powered the SS cars. These men would remain loyal to Lyons for decades. But something was still missing. The SS cars were beautiful and affordable, but their performance didn't quite match their dramatic appearance. The side valve engines simply couldn't deliver the power that the swooping bodywork promised. And there was another problem. The cars needed a name, a proper name that would capture their spirit. In 1935, everything changed. Lyons had been searching for a name that would embody everything his cars represented: grace, power, speed, elegance. His advertising agency presented him with lists of birds and animals. He rejected them one by one until he came to a single word: Jaguar. He pounced on it immediately. "It had an exciting sound to me," he would later recall. The name evoked images of the sleek, powerful cat. Beautiful yet deadly. Graceful yet ferocious. It was perfect. Permission had to be obtained from Armstrong Siddeley, who had registered the Jaguar name for their aircraft engines. Such was the camaraderie of the British motor industry at the time that they agreed without hesitation. But the name wasn't the only transformation. Harry Westlake had been working on the standard engine, converting it from side valve to overhead valve configuration. The results were extraordinary. Power output jumped from 75 horsepower to 105. Meanwhile, William Haynes designed an entirely new chassis to harness this newfound performance. For the new chassis and engine, Lyons designed a fresh body style, less flamboyant than previous models, yet still unmistakably stylish. Indeed, it bore a striking resemblance to contemporary Bentleys that cost nearly 4 times the price. With typical showmanship, Lyons arranged a lunch at the Mayfair Hotel in London to launch the new model to the press just days before the 1935 Motor Show. The SS Jaguar 2.5-liter Saloon was unveiled to much favorable comment, and the assembled journalists were asked to guess the price. The average guess was 632 pounds. The actual price, just 395 pounds. The room erupted. Here was a car that looked like a Bentley, performed admirably, and cost less than half of what anyone expected. The SS Jaguar was an overnight sensation. If the SS Jaguar Saloon established the company's reputation, it was the sports car that cemented its legend. Earlier in 1935, Jaguar had introduced the SS90, a stunning 2-seater roadster with a long bonnet, flowing fenders, cutaway doors, and a truncated tail. It was every inch the epitome of the 1930s sports car, the sort of machine that looked like it should be tearing around the Monaco Grand Prix. But the old side-valve engine limited it to just 90 miles per hour, and the performance didn't quite live up to the promise of those dramatic lines. The solution arrived in 1936 with the SS Jaguar 100. Equipped with Westlake's new overhead valve engine producing 104 horsepower, installed in a shortened chassis with the same beautiful bodywork, the SS 100 finally delivered on its visual promise. The 100 in its name referred to its theoretical top speed, 100 miles per hour, a figure almost unheard of for a production car in those days. At its launch price of just under 400 pounds, the SS 100 was a fraction of the cost of comparable machinery from Alfa Romeo or Aston Martin. It was beautiful, it was fast, and it was attainable. The car's first major racing success came almost immediately. In 1936, Tommy Wisdom and his wife won the arduous International Alpine Trial, beating Bugatti and bringing the fledgling Jaguar Marques to the attention of the continental public. It was the first of many victories. Only 314 SS 100s were ever built, 198 with the 2.5-liter engine and 116 with a later 3.5-liter version, before the outbreak of war halted production forever. Today, they are among the most sought-after classic cars in the world, regularly fetching prices in excess of £1 million. But it was on the bonnet of the SS 100 that something else appeared for the first time. The famous Jaguar Leopard, a chrome mascot depicting a jaguar in mid-pounce. Lyons reportedly described the first version as looking like a cat shot off a fence, but the design was refined and it would become one of the most recognizable emblems in automotive history. The Second World War brought car production to a halt. The Coventry factory turned to war work, producing components for aircraft including sections of the Spitfire, the Lancaster bomber, and various military vehicles. Coventry itself was devastated by German bombing raids, though the Foles Hill factory survived largely intact. But even during the darkest days of the war, William Lyons was planning for the future. In the evenings, after the fire-watching duties were done, he and his engineering team, Haynes, Claude Bailey, Walter Hassan, worked in secret on something revolutionary. An entirely new engine that would be designed and built by Jaguar itself, freeing the company from its dependence on outside suppliers. This engine, which would become known as the XK, was completed in 1948. It was a masterpiece, a twin overhead cam straight six with an aluminum cylinder head, hemispherical combustion chambers, and power output of 160 horsepower. It was, quite simply, the most advanced production engine in the world. But by 1945, there was another pressing matter to address. The letters SS had acquired terrible associations during the war. The Nazi Schutzstaffel, Hitler's feared security force had forever tainted those initials. On March 23, 1945, the shareholders voted to change the company's name. William Lyons addressed them directly. Unlike SS, the name Jaguar is distinctive and cannot be connected or confused with any similar foreign name. From that day forward, the company was simply Jaguar Cars Limited. The cat had found its true identity. The story of Jaguar was only beginning. In 1948, at the London Motor Show, Lyons unveiled the XK120, a sports car that caused an even greater sensation than the SS 100 had a decade earlier. With a top speed of 120 miles per hour, it was the fastest production car in the world. Lyons had intended it as a limited production showcase for the new XK engine, but demand was so overwhelming that it went into full production. The victories at Le Mans would follow. 5 wins between 1951 and 1957 with the legendary C-Type and D-Type racing cars. The E-Type would arrive in 1961, described by Enzo Ferrari himself as the most beautiful car ever made. The XJ Saloon of 1968 would become Lyons' proudest achievement, the culmination of everything he had learned about combining grace, space, and pace. William Lyons was knighted in 1956 for his services to British industry. He retired in 1972 at the age of 71 to his estate at Wappenbury Hall, where he kept prize-winning sheep and cattle. He died on February 8, 1985, leaving behind a legacy that continues to inspire. But it all began in Blackpool with a young man who dreamed of speed and beauty. It began with sidecars and Austin 7s with a determination and vision, with the conviction that ordinary people deserved extraordinary things. It began with a name that captured the imagination of the world, Jaguar. And that's the incredible story of how one man's vision created an automotive legend that endures to this day. If you enjoyed this journey through history, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell so you never miss another story. Drop a comment below and let me know. What's your favorite Jaguar of all time? Is it the timeless E-Type, the racing C-Type, or perhaps the original SS 100 that started it all? I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, keep dreaming big.